fought the good fight for many years in the trenches, have fought the struggle and continue to do so. Have provided insights, advice, reflections to groups, to people on the subject of education. And so I thought of what I would just simply make a comment on is how I see my own role within the educational system. Kirk introduced me as the executive officer for student and community equity at the Toronto District School Board. It is an important position. An executive officer position is the position that is above that of a superintendent. I am a member of the senior team of the Toronto District School Board, the largest school board in the country. Over 560 schools, 270,000 students, larger than many cities across Canada and parts of North America. So that, in a sense, gives me some position of influence. There was a demonstration in Queen's Park. Members of the African-Canadian community were protesting the conditions affecting black youth in schools, in the society, Safe Schools Act, other kinds of instances of abuse and repression faced by our community, systemically in various sectors, and quite appropriately so. Issues that that we have all struggled for in the past, continue to rear their heads, and continue to be issues that tend to make many of us think that there's no real progress here. One of the placards carried by one of the protesters from our community proclaimed, and this was a proclamation that was photographed by the press and carried across the local newspapers. In fact, it was sort of handed out. This is one of these free newspapers that was handed out in the subways for hundreds of thousands of readers and so on. The headline was, the placard in the demonstration was, McGuinty Liberals and TDSD Lloyd McKell fails black youth. Now, at first I reflected on that, and of course that, gee, that's a little unfair. I mean, as Kirk said, I've been around for a long time as an advocate and working with black community groups and doing what I can to solve problems and advocate and change things. Some successes here and there, and certainly not total failure, but I felt that that there's a record of my own efforts that was not reflected in that stark claim published to the people of Toronto. But I thought that that's a message that's worth really thinking about. The community protesting situations affecting black people, they're not mean people. They're interested in solving problems. So I need to take that message seriously as a person with a position of responsibility in a public school board. And I reflected on what influence I really have within a public institution, such as the school board, and in this case, the Toronto District School Board. I realized that I actually have no power in the sense that I actually do not have, as an administrator working in head office, I don't have a classroom of students whose minds, whose thinkings, whose values I can directly influence in terms of my day-to-day practice.